first week we were saying that what jealousy does to us is it makes us burn with anger and hatred over something, and we still don't have it. Like, I don't have something, and so I'm upset that I don't have that thing. And I'm angry that I don't have that thing. And I expend all of this energy and all of this emotion, and at the end of it, I'm still poor as I started, but I'm even poorer because now I'm angry and hateful and jealous and so on. And so we're looking to God to give us some deliverance from these feelings of jealousy. Now there's another aspect of jealousy which is completely different, which is, what if you're just minding your own business and good things are happening in your life and people are jealous of you? How do you deal with that? And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So without further ado, I introduce you to John Saad, a dear friend, who will be speaking to us about that. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen.
Now we're ready to go.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, one God. Amen. Let's do this again.
So I don't ever really remember hearing a sermon on jealousy, besides the one of John's and Mary's, of preparing for this talk, or really ever reading anything on it. But it's really something that affects us all. And as I was looking through the preparation materials, I came across a book. It actually said jealousy, the sin no one talks about. So I'm glad we're talking about it today here. So just like one of John, I just want to do a quick recap. Just a couple points from each talk, just so we know where we stand. So the recap of talk 1, I really love what Abuna John said. Jealousy is when you love something more than someone. So you desire an object, promotion, a house, a car, a relationship even, more than an actual person. And this is something to really like search ourselves. Why ask your questions? If you ask your questions, things like why them, not me? Why do I have it? Why they don't? Do I rejoice when an enemy stumbles? And the point to remember is people were created to be loved. Things were created to be used. The reason the world is in chaos is because things are being loved and people are being used. This funny image of whatever it is. I don't know if you guys can see it on the TV. So looking at this picture instinctually, you know that it's not necessarily the other person that's jealous is jealous of, right? It's more of, why isn't that me? Why can I be in that type of relationship? Why? It's just a funny illustration. But what are we seeking? Whether it's wealth or even to be productive or efficient. In America, there's this big push. Everything has to be like productive and efficient. It's all about money. It's all about the dollar. So personally, it's about making things about yourself as opposed to being in communion with other people, person to person. So the recap of talk 2, as Abuna John mentioned, is we vainly chase the things that don't satisfy, right? There's this quote, I don't know if you guys have it in Canada. I'm American, by the way, if you couldn't tell by my accent, quote unquote. Not all that glitters is gold, right? You get something, you pursue a goal, an object, and then you get it, you attain it, and then you're like, oh, this is normal. This is a personal example. I remember not too long ago, I was at a job, enjoying myself, minding my own business, and I get a message on LinkedIn. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the social platform. People reach out, recruiters, and this recruiter is like, I'm going to offer you 60% more than what you're making. And I'm like, whoa, that's okay. Tell me more. So we got in a conversation. Now I'm at this other job, and it's like the same as the other job, and it's almost as if the luster of what I wanted has faded. And then Mary gave the example. I love the example last time of Amnon and Tamar. He hated when he raped his half-sister because he said he loved her so exceedingly. The hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he loved her after and he didn't want her anymore. So ask yourselves, what are we chasing? So that was just a quick recap. And the point to remember is jealousy is wanting something for yourself that God doesn't want for you right now. And this is a really important point because we all have different callings, different walks in life. And the worst thing we could do is look to God and say, I don't want what you want for me. I want what I want for me. So we have to be thankful and faithful in the things that we do have. During the crowning ceremony, if you guys are familiar with the Coptic Orthodox rite of holy matrimony, I love the part where it says, take unto you your bride, your wife, for the Lord Christ has given her to you. And I love that because God gives, every good gift is from Him. It's from His hand. And if we don't have something, it's because we don't want it. He doesn't want it for us right now. We're thankful for everything we have and don't have as we pray in liturgy. Kiss both sides of the hand. I'm still trying to understand that. But He has a plan and purpose for each of us, and His timing is perfect. So just a funny thing, we look at Facebook a lot as a social network where we can connect, but it's also kind of like we discussed previously, a catalyst for jealousy. And I just thought it was cool to, I found this article, and this picture is actually from this article. The Pope Tewodros, our Coptic Pope, says that Facebook is a waste of time, age, and life. I just like that phrasing. It's probably translated, but it's really nice. But the fact of the matter is, not everyone who appears happy is happy. So moving on, now we get into today's topic. Now, today's topic is kind of hard to think about because taking a look at these questions, right? The second one is kind of hard to answer. So let's take a minute. So I ask you, why do people get jealous of others? What do you guys think? Let's make this interactive. I need some answers here. Why do people get jealous of others?
Because if I desire something and they have it, then that creates some jealousy towards them.
Because I desire something that they have. Great. Anything else?
Because they appear happier and they have everything.
Because they appear happier, as we discussed. Okay. Self-disdain, because they themselves have some sort of insecurity and they look at you and think you have it all put together, so they get jealous of you. Great, that's absolutely. So you're raising your hand?
They think that their timing is the right timing, not God's timing.
So the timing's off, like we said. I want it now. God maybe want it for you later, not at all, but I want it now. Great, awesome answers. Now, how about the second one? Who do you know who is jealous of you? And like, I had to try to think to myself to answer these questions before I put them up here. And I'm like, this is a really awkward question, right? Like, if I think someone's jealous of me, then like, how do you interact with that person? If I stand up here and say, oh, this person's jealous of me, then that kind of makes me look really proud and arrogant. So it's a fine line, but think, do we have anyone in our life that is jealous of us? Yes. Probably. You'd be willing to name that? No, I'm kidding.
But I think the danger is when we think that no one is jealous of us, because that tells us that we don't take any pride in ourselves.
Absolutely.
Which means something we feel that we're missing things.
Sure. So they're saying that we have some sort of insecurity. We can't ever think that someone's not jealous of us. Or did I get you right?
Yeah, that no one is jealous of us. We don't, like, as if we don't deserve, we don't have anything good in us.
Sure.
For anyone to be jealous of.
Absolutely. And so, really quick, so thanks for answering the questions. And can anyone answer this next question? Does anyone know what this eye thing is on this PowerPoint slide? Can you guys see it? What is it? The evil eye. So I have a funny story about this evil eye. When I was living in Korea for a year with my wife, I go into this Korean apartment. I walk in, and right smack on the wall there is just a big eye looking at me. It's very ornate, has these little dangling jewels. I'm like, Vera, what is this? She's like, oh, you don't know? Apparently in the Arab culture, again, I'm American. I mean, I was born in Egypt, but I'm very foreign to Egypt. The evil eye, apparently, and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's like I'm scared to tell someone that I have something because they are going to like have an evil eye and it's going to be taken away. Right? Did I get that kind of right? Okay, so this is kind of the concept of what we're talking about.
This is not the evil eye, this warns the evil eye.
This what?
It pushes away the evil eye.
This pushes away the evil eye.
It's not the evil eye.
Oh, that's good to know.
Like this talisman.
Oh, who knows? See, I told you, correct me if I'm wrong. But that's, I'm learning something too, thank you. So there's a story, I was over at a friend's house last week, and he was telling me his dad, like he was scared of the evil eye, so he would drive 10 minutes from his house, or from the place where he worked, and walk 10 minutes, because he didn't want people looking, evil-eyeing him, right? He was supposed to wear one of these ornaments around his neck, maybe, to push away the evil eye, right? He didn't want it, he didn't want people to, like, take away the possession from him. So hopefully we can kind of clear up these misconceptions. So why do people get jealous of others? Like we said, answer, when we have something good, other people resent us. They get jealous. Maybe they have some sort of insecurity, and we're strong in this area, so they look at us and they want something good that we have. God has given us a gift, whether financially, monetarily, physically, right? Emotionally, intellectually, even spiritually. Like, sometimes I look at some of the desert fathers and I'm like, oh, like I really want to be like that. And that's different from having them be an example for me to like aspire to be. But when I want, like it's spiritual envy. I want that. I want to be someone other than who God created me to be. So all these things, that's why we get jealous of people. We want something good that the other person has that God has given to them. And so who do we know who's jealous of us? So those of us who said no one, I'm about to tell you guys we all have someone who is very jealous of us. It's Thank you, Satan. And why is that? We say in liturgy, death entered into the world through the envy of the devil. I find it interesting, like our liturgy has all our theology, right? Why don't they say death entered into the world through the pride of the devil? We know the devil was proud. He wanted to ascend to the throne most high. But it says envy. Why is that? Because he's jealous of us. He's jealous of the image of God that we bear. So the good thing that we have, that he's jealous of, is God has bestowed his image on us. So we all have something. We all have someone jealous of us, and we all have to have this in mind. And it's usually not personal, right? It's usually, insecurity is usually on the other person's part. Satan can't become like God. But because we have his image, and we were made in his likeness, we work with him to become like he is. But Satan can't. Although he had angelic majesty, he can't become like God. But we can. And that's why he's jealous of us. But it's not like he knows us by name. It's not like he knows what we like and don't like. Like he can fight us on a spiritual plane. But he can't, like, he's not like God who knows the hairs of our head, he counts our tears and puts them in his book, his bottle. He doesn't take care of, like, it's not personal. It's just, we have something that he wants. So the Book of Wisdom says, when God created us, he did not intend for us to die. He made us like himself. It was the devil's jealousy that brought death into the world. And there's a lot of Psalms where the psalmist cries out and he says, Lord, many are those who have increased, who hate me without cause. and he gets really upset. Why are all these things happening to me? Why are these people maligning me, belittling me, condemning and rebuking me? And it's all because as we grow towards God, the devil sees us and gets more and more jealous and attacks us. And this happens in our everyday life, right? Sometimes people at our workplace, sometimes people around us on the street, anywhere really, they see something that we have, and they're incited by Satan to attack us. But jealousy, like all other trials and temptations, is for our benefit. God makes it a good thing for us. So this next slide, their jealousy, our preparation. We're going to talk about some characters in the Bible who show us just this fact that I said. The eldest son of Jesse, his name was Eliab, being jealous of his little brother David was part of his preparation. It helped him get ready for what was coming down the road. Jealousy is what eventually made Joseph prime minister of Egypt, and jealousy between Leah and Rachel was no small force in making Jacob the father of 12 sons. So the point is, God can use jealousy, other people's jealousy for good, and oftentimes he does. He uses our jealousy for other people and other people's jealousy for us to draw us to our knees to him, because the feeling you get, like we talked about it these past couple weeks, it's like nothing you can describe. It's indescribable. You know, you can't really put words to how it makes you feel and how it kind of, the anxiety and the anxiousness and the nervousness. But God can use that, even that, for our good. And even Christ himself, it's almost as if the holier you are, the more Satan incites against you and attacks you. Christ, it says in Mark 15:10, that for they knew the chief priests had handed him over because of envy. Even our salvation was due to someone being jealous of our Lord Jesus Christ. And actually, St. John Chrysostom believes that the Pharisees, they knew that he was the Messiah. They knew Christ was the Messiah, but because of their jealousy, they didn't want to admit it. And so they kept going around this. I mean, he raised Lazarus from the dead in front of them, and they're like, okay, what are we going to do? The world's going after this guy. We need to stop it, or else our entire country, our entire people will be taken away. So moving on here, David and Eliab. How many of us know the story of David and Goliath? All of us. How many of us know the story right before, when David is on the way to slay Goliath, or God ordained? So basically, before David's about to slay Goliath, he's on the way by his father's order with the best snack in the world, in my opinion, bread and cheese, to the captains and to his brothers. His three eldest brothers are in the field, and everyone's like, okay, what are we going to do about this guy, Goliath? So let's pick. So David, I'll read you a little bit before, and then we'll pick it up together on the PowerPoint. Then David spoke to the men who stood by him, saying, "What shall be done for the man who kills the Philistine and takes away the reproach from Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God?" And the people answered him, "You're going to get the king's daughter. You're not going to have to pay taxes. Good stuff's going to happen." So let's pick it up on the slide together here. Now Eliab, his oldest brother, heard when he spoke to the men, and Eliab's anger was aroused against David. And he said, "Why did you come down here? And with whom have you left those few sheep in the wilderness?" Let's stop right there. That's kind of an insult. That's like I mean, who are you? You're just a shepherd boy. And not only that, you have just a little sheep. Like, you have a few number. Like, you're not that big of a deal. What are you doing here? And he continues, "I know your pride and the insolence of your heart, for you have come down to see the battle." So this guy is, we'll see later, but right before, I'll just show you guys the icon. Right before this, Samuel, by the word of the Lord, goes to anoint David king. And he passes over Eliab, the firstborn. Samuel goes up to him, and he's like, this is the guy you want, right? And God's like, "No, I have rejected him because Man looks at the outward appearance, God looks at the heart. I refused him. And so he went past all his brothers. So all his brothers at this point were probably jealous of him. But the sting was mainly on the eldest brother because, like, he was, in his mind, going to be king, but he was passed up for the anointing. So let's go back here. And David said, this is a response to jealousy. So let's keep this in mind as we continue to talk. David said, "What have I done now? Is there not a cause?" Then he turned from him toward another and said the same thing. And these people answered as the first ones did. So how did he respond to his brother? Did he say, "Oh, you're jealous"? That probably wouldn't have turned out really well. Maybe a couple of us have done that in our lives, and things have escalated and kind of blown up. That's not what you want to do here. You don't want to poke the person and say, "Oh, you're just jealous of me. I was anointed king, you weren't. I get it, I'm your younger brother." That's probably not a good idea. But let's just keep that in mind. So he kind of ignores, he kind of just glosses over the fact that Eliab is jealous here. Now let's move on to Leah and Rachel. I'm sure we all know the story in Genesis that is actually kind of sad. It's pretty sad. In the matrimony ceremony, again, I remember when they're reading about the patriarchs, they say Abraham, Sarah, right? Isaac, Rebecca. And then a lot of times they don't know what to say when they get to the last one. They say Leah and Jacob, and they usually say Jacob and Rachel. Sometimes they say Jacob and his marriage because they don't want to mention he had two wives that were sisters. Sometimes they say Jacob and Rachel and Leah. But it's really funny. Next time you go to a marriage ceremony, check that out and see what they say. But so Leah and Rachel. Leah had weak eyes. Rachel was very beautiful of form and appearance. Leah was unwanted and unloved. Rachel was loved by her husband Jacob. And Leah had many sons that were born to her. But these two sisters, actually in Levitical law, it said, I think I have it here, that you shall not take a woman as rival to her sister to uncover her nakedness while the other is alive. So you're actually not supposed to, I mean, this was before the law, but maybe because of this reason, because the sisters are always going to be jealous. It's just natural for two sisters to be married to the same man. It's not a pleasant Thanksgiving meal altogether. So Leah envied her sister Rachel. What does it say? But she said to her, "Is it a small matter that you have taken away my husband? Would you take away my son's mandrakes also?" She's saying, because mandrakes, I think in the olden times, were known to help fertility. Read something like that. But basically she's saying, "You've taken away my husband." And Rachel's like, when she saw that she bore Jacob no children, she said, "Give me children or else I die." So the other sister always wanted what the other sister had. How though, could this situation have been made right? What do you guys think? Huh? You should have married one of them. It's actually because of Laban, and his uncle tricked him, of course. He wanted Rachel, and that's what led to this predicament that they're in. But how could this jealousy have been resolved? I mean, it's not an easy thing. But what do you guys think? Just take a moment. It has to do with what we're celebrating, at least in Canada. Thanksgiving. If the person had looked to what they have, Leah's able to bear her husband many children, actually from Levi, as well as from Judah. Both the priesthood from Levi and the tribe of Judah, Christ, who eventually came from the tribe of Judah, like she was a pillar in the faith, in the tribe for Israel, for Jacob. And Rachel, I mean, she was loved by her husband, right? She had the love of the person in her life. She could have that most intimate relationship that Leah couldn't. So instead of looking at what the other person had, they themselves could look at what they have. So moving on to Joseph and his brothers. And instead of reiterating the story, because I know we went through several of the Bible characters, I just want to put this one up on the screen, Sayings from the Desert Fathers. I really love this. Let's take a look. Abba John said, "Who sold Joseph?" A brother replied, saying, "It was his brethren." The old man said to him, "No, it was his humility which sold him." Because he could have said, "I am their brother," and have objected. But because he kept silence, he sold himself with his humility. It is also his humility which set him up as chief in Egypt. So this shows us that, like the whole long story of Joseph, it's really how we choose to respond to another person's jealousy is what sees where God's going to put us, right? He chose to respond and say, "Okay, whatever you would have me do." We read today in the Catholic epistle, Cain and Abel. One of the brothers was found righteous before God. One of them wasn't, and the one that was took the beating of his brother, and he just kept taking it. And so this is how we should respond to jealousy. Because if we say, "Oh, you're just being jealous," and what's going to end up happening is just the situation again is going to explode. And I just want to reiterate this with another really, really nice saying I found. One day, when he was sitting in front of the church, the brethren were consulting him about their thoughts. One of the old men who saw it became a prey to jealousy and said to him, "John, your vessel is full of poison," as if to say, "You're being really proud. Why are all these people coming to you?" Abba John said to him, "That is very true, Abba. And you have said that only when you see the outside. But if you're able to see the inside too, what would you say then?" So the response to jealousy, because jealousy is so linked with pride, it's saying, "I am great, and why can't I have what you have? Like you're less than me." And so just like faith, hope, and love are kind of mixed in together, so are jealousy and pride. So what do? We said humility a couple times now. But we also overlook it. What did he do here? He overlooked what he was saying. He kind of moved on from it. He didn't dwell on it. He didn't poke at the weakness in the other person and say, like, I wanted to show a clip of someone exploding at the other person saying, "Oh no, you're just being jealous." But I couldn't really find one that is church appropriate. because when you do that, things don't end well. So moving on here. St. Basil urges, and he's talking about jealousy. I just want to say everything that it is. This does a really nice job to sum up what jealousy is, what it can do, and why we need to avoid it. Brothers, let us escape this illness that teaches hostility to God, the mother of murder, which confounds nature, ignores friendship, and is the most irrational misfortune. Let us escape this unbearable vice. It is a lesson learned from the serpent, an invention of the demons, and the seed sown by the enemy. A foretaste of damnation, an obstacle to devotion, the road to hell and loss of the kingdom. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff. So it just shows the gravity of what needs to happen in our hearts. We should get to the point where we look at someone, even if they're jealous or angry towards us, that we extend a helping hand in humility, because we want to see them be saved. We want to see them be changed and become like Christ, just like we are being transformed daily into his image. And so, coming up quick here, I want to make this short because it's Thanksgiving weekend. People have turkeys to cook. So, I don't know if you all know His Grace Abba Epiphanios. He had a really beautiful, he lived a beautiful life, but he really had a beautiful quote. And the last one I want to read to you here, so stay with me. There are those who reach up to pull themselves up, those who tear others down and attempt to elevate themselves. The truly enlightened ones lift others up without concern for themselves. Respectively, the motivation of each is ambition, envy, and love. So the one that's bolded talks about envy. Those who tear others down in an attempt to elevate themselves. So even if someone's doing that to them, to us, tearing us down in order to elevate ourselves, instinctually, naturally, we want to grab back and pull them down to get higher than them. But what we need to do is let them climb over us, but rather not climb over us, but lift them up without concern for what's happening to us. For in doing so, Christ himself, as Abuna John was saying in the sermon today, will put his head under us as a sheep and carry us on his back and elevate us higher than his glory, because we follow him when we are humble, when we follow the narrow path and let people pull us down so that they can get up. Because Christ always goes down to lift up. And so I'd rather be on Christ's shoulders than a little higher after a battle with my neighbor, to be a little higher than him. So I know it was short, but I just wanted to leave you all with that. Thank you. Would you have anything to add?
God bless you.
Glory be to God for another one. Let's stand and pray.